Welcome back to the Suburban Ford 7 Sportscape. Twitter can be a very fun place, but most of the time it's a dark, dark place. Trolls
Most of the time. Ogres.
They come after you. But hopefully,
You've been following my timeline, eh?
No cyberbullying today. We don't condone that type of activity here on the Suburban Ford 7 Sportscape. Mike Foss, he's been surveying and making sure that all the niceties, but I do want to tell you, when are we doing the Justin Rose reads mean tweets episode of this, because it's just so good.
Yeah, we can definitely set that up for a future date. We will definitely make that happen at some point. But meanwhile, there's been plenty of angry tweets out there about the Tigers and the confrontation and more venom toward Brad Ausmus, so we'll get right into that. We start off with Bob talking about the confrontation between Iglesias and McCann, saying he supports Iggy 100%. How dare players question his effort? Nobody runs harder to first, etc. McCann was way out of line. Doug says it's all part of the Iglesias-McCann plan to get the incompetent manager broomed. And Luke says, totally think that Ausmus has lost control of the team. Players are arguing, tweeting too much, and no accountability. And then also, guys, we got to talk about the Lions. First week of camp is wrapped up. Biggest thing that's stood out to you guys in this first week?
Well, let's start with the Lions, just real quick. The biggest thing that stood out to you is?
Well, Matt Stafford looked great, right? And I saw Dave Burkett from the Free Press tweet out that if his backups if Matt Stafford gets hurt, this team is screwed. So I think we knew that from the get-go. But I think Matt Stafford, this is the year, it's year 7, that there's two arguments. There's all the stats and all he's done, and then there's the lack of playoff wins and the lack of big wins. This is the year that I think we can finally, I've determined, but you can make a final determination on Matt Stafford.
Well, from the standpoint of those who shall not be named, that were lost off that defensive line, the offense really has to pick up the pieces. I don't want to hear people say that Stafford needs more weapons or this is the year 7. Look, this is just it. This is a make-or-break year for what Stafford's legacy is going to be. It's playoffs or bust, and probably a win in the playoffs or bust. Otherwise, he's just going to be a mediocre kind of. He's there. He's a game manager, and he's not going to be any more than that unless he can do something this year. Calvin Johnson's not going to be any better in the future than he is right now.
Yeah. Well, back to those Tigers tweets as well. I hear Bob's argument because Iglesias is one of the guys that really shocked me when it was him, because that was one guy that I wouldn't expect necessarily knowing him and watching him play throughout the year. But something to be said about the Tigers manager. Ausmus, how much can you really put on him?
I tell you what, I don't think Brad's done a tremendous job by any means. I don't. I do believe that he probably deserves to come back next year. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But I don't think what you saw on Friday night means that Brad Ausmus has lost this club. I don't. I think it's two guys getting angry at each other and one pushing the other guy, and it all got caught on tape.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that happens in a long, long baseball season. If Iglesias does that and it starts to follow with other examples of that, then you have issues. This is one thing in a very long season, just a blip on the radar.
When you are with that many guys for on the road, for all the travel, eventually something's going to come to a head and go over.
We were fighting in the break.
We fight all the time. I don't even like you. All right, coming up, Fact or Fiction. We got a great Fact or Fiction segment. Get out of here. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, he's gone. Just Rod and I when we come back in Suburban Ford 7 Sports. Just come back. I'm just lying.